What's up, rats? I've been getting a lot of comments about aim, sensitivity, and all that gamer junk, and I'm finally gonna explain what helps and what goes on in my little brain, and it's gonna be as in-depth as I can make it about aiming as the Australian man. Junkrat's pretty cool. He's not hit scan, it feels really good hitting directs. So why not learn how to aim better? Junkrat's a pretty unique hero. His primary has an arc and a certain speed to it that takes some time getting used to. You really gotta learn how to be consistent with it. It's pretty neat, honestly. We have Shuriken Guy, we have Rocket Lady, we have Ice Woman, and now we have Bomb, my favorite. But again, he's pretty unique. And the closest thing I could really compare him to is basically what inspired him in the first place, Devilman from TF2. Okay, so since Junkrat is a projectile hero, it's not as simple as just pointing at the head like your Cassidy's or your Ashes. You have to do a little bit more prediction with the rat. You have to unlock your third eye. You have to recognize where people are gonna move to. Hard to believe it for us Junkrat mains, but you have to use your brain. And there's a pretty easy cop-out answer to this, and I'm gonna save that until the end, because it's probably the best tip I could give, but it's an easy one to say. So I'm mainly gonna focus on going into explaining my thought process and my decision making when aiming as Junkrat. It's really funny making a video like this because most people are gonna see this and they're gonna say, aiming is Junkrat. What do you mean aim? I aim more when I click on the battle.net launcher. But yes, I know, it's sadly true. Junkrat requires just a little bit of aim when your enemies have at least half a brain cell.
Stupid, I'm not gonna let you get the chance.
You have to aim way ahead of them because people are going to be strafing left and right. You have to aim ahead because unless you're right in front of them, the bomb isn't going to hit. For practice, I recommend throwing rocks at your siblings. Nah, just kidding. Don't actually do that, please. Don't do that. Again, with aiming, you really have to aim farther ahead to compensate for that travel time. Junkrat isn't hit scan, but if he was, that would be pretty terrifying. Another pro gamer tip I can give you guys that I personally use is to get a good feel for how each hero strafes. This sounds complicated, but honestly, after a bit of practice and playing, you start to recognize how each hero would strafe. Heroes like Kiriko and Tracer have hitboxes the size of freaking toothpicks. And they're notoriously hard to hit. They sway left to right super rapidly. It can be pretty hard to hit these heroes, but since you're Junkrat, try to get super up close and personal with them. Shh, it's okay, it's okay. Shh, I'm here, it's okay. And try to hit at least one shot on them while I strafe in the opposite direction. That's another thing too. Make sure you're strafing. Try to like mirror their movement or strafe in the opposite direction to make aiming a little bit more predictable for you. Because it's not just about aim movement, it's also about where you are in position to the enemy. It's a lot of variables, but if you control those variables, then slowly but surely it will be easier to aim. Keep in mind that the grenades have an arc too. You might have to really compensate for the arc in certain situations, like in a lot of air shots. If they're up in the air and you see them falling, you might need to aim just like a little bit higher to compensate for that arc. Sometimes even on ground, you'll need to adjust your aim just because of the arc. A lot of unpredictable movement is controlled and combated by flicks and snappy movements. That's a lot of Junkrat aim, honestly. You're going to be flicking a lot. Flick here, flick there, and you also got to keep in mind that they have utility that they can use. And it's good to keep that in mind because it's going to make heroes way more predictable for you. Stuff like Cassidy's roll, Tracer's blink, and Doomfist punch are kind of predictable, I'm not gonna lie. If you see a Cassidy roll, just shoot in that direction. If you see a Tracer blink, shoot where you think she's gonna blink to. It's pretty cool too, because if she recalls, try to keep a mental note of where she was beforehand, so you can just combo her. And other heroes like the tanks, Bastion, Reaper, they all have fatter hitboxes, so they're a little bit more generous to aim with. It's a bit easier to hit shots on them just because they got these big fat hitboxes. And the flyers like Mercy, Echo, Pharah, all those heroes are kind of floaty, so it's a bit easier to predict where they're gonna go. You could also wait for the enemy to strafe in a direction that favors you, and you can take a little short break from shooting and see where they're gonna go. You don't have to shoot 24/7. Don't hold on to the primary fire. Wait for them to make a move and then shoot in that direction. It makes it easier for you to give yourself a little breather and gives you time to collect yourself and predict where they're gonna go. We're gonna be doing this the old-fashioned way. Just stay away from Adderall abuse, okay? Another tip I can give you guys is to aim from up close to medium range, since that's where Junkrat's best at. As you go farther, Junkrat's projectiles become a little bit less reliable, simply because the grenades are pretty predictable to move around from far away. His grenades are super slow, so at far distances, you're mainly relying on to spam at that point, or you just kind of get lucky. So yeah, always be up close or medium range. And if you can't do either of those things, then try to lock out points with your spam. Concussion mines are pretty cool though, pretty much because they will always pop somebody up vertically in the air in the relation to where the concussion mine was placed. There's a little window of time where they're pretty predictable to shoot at, since they're getting bopped up uncontrollably. They're stuck in the air for a small portion, so a quick flick will do the job. Okay, this is gonna be kinda hard to explain, but I'm gonna try my best to explain it anyways. Okay, so again with prediction, you just gotta predict where they're gonna go. But if you're fighting somebody, a good thing to do is to spam a corner. And this sounds kinda stupid, but just stay with me. So if you're fighting somebody and they see you, there's a good chance they're gonna try and pursue you. And if you cut off line of sight, just shoot a corner that separates you guys, and there's a good chance you're gonna hit them. Cause again, if they're gonna chase you, they're gonna wanna cross the corner to try and touch you. But in order to do that, they're gonna have to bypass what you're shooting at the corner. It's a little tip, but you'll be surprised at how many people you're gonna hit by doing this. And to make it even safer for you, be sure to jiggle peek corners. It really helps if somebody's chasing you too. If they're really pursuing you, just shoot a corner and they're gonna probably hit it. And it'll be enough for them to back away. Just get into these people's brains, get into their psychology, all that fun stuff. Sensitivity kind of depends on your mouse DPI. Don't know what that is? It's basically just the sensitivity of your mouse. In-game sensitivity is dependent on it, but for me, I have a relatively high sensitivity compared to my DPI. It's just what I'm used to, and I personally like having a higher sensitivity because I can make some snappy adjustments with my aim. I'm more of a wrist aimer, so having a high sensitivity is better for me. It could be different for you, because if you aim with your whole arm instead, or with your elbow, you might want like a lower sensitivity since you're already making big sweeping movements with your arm. Don't constantly switch up your sensitivity. Find a number you like and try your best to let your muscle memory develop. Constantly switching it will mess up your aim, and you're gonna have a harder time predicting where stuff is because you need to constantly compensate for the switching sensitivities. So yeah, don't do that. After a while, once you settle on one sensitivity, you'll just consciously make adjustments in game because of the built up muscle memory. There's not a one size fits all sensitivity that I can tell people, so just try your best to find what works for you. There's also a pretty good chunk of aim trainers for Overwatch that you could put to use. Get out of here, aim labs, we have custom games. Some good workshop codes I personally use back when I was just a little baby Junkrat are VAXTA, DZ9DY, and a couple other ones. Hey, wanna have a Junkrat 1v1? Just use the code TXCXX, then deselect all the heroes except for Junkrat. This can really help with prediction and how far you should be aiming as Junkrat. First person to 50 wins. Although it's gonna be tough asking somebody to play Overwatch with you. It's kinda like asking someone to willingly get an uncurable disease. Not many people wanna do that. The next code, DZ9DY, is also pretty good for aiming. More in particular, air shots. This code is really good because it teaches you the arc, how far you have to aim, how far you have to aim ahead, all on these unsuspecting grandmas. Perfect. Commit these war crimes on some grandmas by using your concussion mine and bopping them up in the air. Keep in mind though, because you can only secure a kill as they're mid-air. Pretty good, and this one I used the most when I was just a bronze rat. That's right, Anna, you should have gave me nano. Okay, so earlier in the video I talked about a easy cop-out answer for all of this. And yep, you guessed it, it's practice. You gotta play the game first to even predict where people are going. All the prediction, all the skill shots you're gonna make, you can only do that with practice of the game. The only way to get better and to get better at aiming is to actually play the game. I know, it's a tough choice to ask. Asking you to play Overwatch, oh my god. How could I do this? But yes, you gotta play the game to get better. It's as simple as that. And how long is that gonna take? I'm not sure. It's different for everybody. But all I can really say is that you should be grinding out quick play, competitive, mainly competitive because you're gonna be playing around people around your skill level. The best for practice. Use the aim trainers to your advantage and just make good decisions. I believe in you guys. You guys can do this. You just gotta play the game, get better, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, that's basically it. That's my kind of sort of guide, kind of me just riffing about how I aim, what helps me, all that stuff. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. We just hit 1,000 subscribers and we're gonna keep on pushing that. You guys are so awesome. I love the support, and remember to hit that subscribe button, that like button, all the above. And if you have any tips on what helps you, be sure to comment those below. But yeah, thanks everybody. I love you guys. I'm gonna keep on making more videos. I'll be live streaming here and there. But yeah, thanks so much. Mwah. I love you guys. See ya.